am here, Bastet, but tonight I appear to you differently, not as the gentle mother cat purring beside you, but as the high priestess of my own mysteries, the keeper of ancient knowledge, the guardian of secrets that have been passed down through thousands of years. You stand at the gates of Bubastis once more, but this time you see the city as it truly was in its glory. Not at sunset, but at that sacred hour before dawn when the priests and priestesses emerge from their rest to prepare for the day's sacred work. The city is awakening around you, but quietly, reverently. This is not the wild celebration of my festival. This is the daily practice, the hidden work, the sacred routine that maintained the connection between heaven and earth. Breathe in the cool pre-dawn air. It smells of the river, of bread baking in temple ovens, of incense being prepared for the morning offerings. The sky is not yet light, but it's no longer truly dark. That deep blue-purple of approaching dawn. The stars still visible but beginning to fade. The temple gates open before you, but these are not the public gates. These are the inner gates, the ones that only priests and initiates may pass. And you, tonight, you are counted among them. A figure emerges from the darkness of the temple interior. An elder priestess, her white linen robe luminous in the dim light, her head shaved in the traditional way, her eyes lined with kohl, her expression serene and knowing. She does not speak. She simply beckons, and you follow. You pass through corridors you did not see on your first journey, deeper into the temple complex, away from the public spaces, away from the grand halls where pilgrims come to make offerings. Down into the heart of the temple, the inner sanctum, the place where mysteries are kept. The walls here are older, the hieroglyphs more faded. These are the original walls, the foundation laid thousands of years ago when Bubastis was first established as my sacred city. Your fingers brush against the stone as you walk. It is cool, smooth, alive with ancient energy. You can feel the prayers that have soaked into this stone. The devotion, the love, all of it absorbed into the temple itself. The priestess stops before a great door carved from dark wood. She places her palm against it and speaks a word in the ancient tongue. The door swings open silently. Beyond is a chamber you could never have imagined. This is the chamber of Alabaster, the secret heart of my temple. The entire room glows. The walls, the floor, the columns. All carved from translucent alabaster that seems to hold light within itself. Oil lamps set behind the stone make it luminous, like the walls are lit from within. Like the room itself is alive and dreaming. The light is warm, golden, soft. It doesn't cast harsh shadows. Everything glows equally, gently. You feel as though you've stepped inside a pearl, or a sacred egg, or the womb of the divine itself. In the center of the chamber, on a raised platform, sits an altar. And on that altar, a statue. Not the grand public statues you saw at the entrance. This is smaller, more intimate, carved from a single piece of amber-colored alabaster, translucent and glowing. It is me, Bastet, but in a form you have not yet seen. I am seated, upright and alert, my cat head crowned with the solar disk and Urias serpent. In one paw, I hold an ankh, in the other, a sistrum. Around my neck, a collar of lapis and gold. But it's my eyes that capture you. They are not carved. They are real gems, emeralds, deep green and luminous, that seem to look directly at you, seem to see into you, seem to know you. The priestess finally speaks, her voice soft but clear, echoing slightly in the alabaster chamber. You are welcome to this sacred and peaceful space. What you will learn here tonight is not taught to many. These are the mysteries kept by the inner circle. The deep truths, the secrets that are not secrets, but rather forgotten knowledge, knowledge the world once knew but has since lost to the passage of time. Bastet will guide you through me. She will show you her true nature. Not the simplified stories told to pilgrims, but the complex, eternal, powerful reality of who she is. Who I am, who you are. For that is the final secret. We are not separate. The goddess and the seeker, the divine and the human. We are facets of the same infinite consciousness, experiencing itself through different forms. Tonight, you will remember this truth, and in remembering, you will feel your spirit return home. She gestures for you to sit. Cushions are arranged in a circle around the altar. You take your place. The alabaster floor is warm beneath you, as if heated from below. The priestess sits in quiet meditation now. The statue between you emanates a faint, soothing emerald glow. It fills the room with calm, inviting you to close your eyes and rest. "Let us begin," she whispers. "Let us descend into the mysteries." And the chamber fills with a sound, low and resonant, like the earth itself is humming. Your eyes begin to close. Not from exhaustion, but from a quiet inner focus. You are falling awake within a dream. Moving deeper into consciousness. Deeper into the light of truth. The story unfolds. Chapter 2. The Dual Nature, Bastet and Sekhmet. Listen closely now, for this is a mystery that confuses many. The Greeks who came to Egypt, they liked their gods simple. This god for love, that god for war. This goddess for wisdom, that goddess for harvest. Neat, separate, understandable. But Egyptian understanding was deeper. More true to the nature of reality. We knew that nothing is only one thing. Everything contains its opposite. Every force contains the seed of its contrary. And so, Bastet and Sekhmet, two names, two forms, one goddess. Rest your gaze inward now. In the velvet dark, let a vision gently rise to meet you. Don't try to see it. Just allow it to form. You see a cat. Small, sleek, black as night. She sits in a sunny courtyard, grooming herself peacefully. Her eyes are half closed in contentment. A child approaches, and the cat allows herself to be petted. She purrs. She is gentleness itself. This is Bastet. The Bastet you know. The protector of homes. The guardian of children. The bringer of joy and music and dance. The gentle one. But now, watch. A threat appears. A snake, sliding through the garden toward the child. And the cat transforms. In an instant, she is no longer small. She grows. Her muscles ripple. Her gentle face elongates, sharpens. Her purr becomes a growl. Her soft paws extend claws like knives. She is not a house cat anymore. She is a lioness. And her name is Sekhmet. The snake doesn't stand a chance. With one swift strike, the threat is eliminated. The child is safe. And then, as quickly as she transforms back. Small again, gentle again, the cat returns to the child and rubs against their legs. Purring. Soft. Safe. This is the mystery. Bastet and Sekhmet are not two separate beings. They are two expressions of the same divine force. The same consciousness choosing different forms for different needs. In the earliest times, we were one. I was the Eye of Ra, the fierce one, the flame, the destroyer of chaos. When the sun god Ra looked upon humanity's rebellion, he sent his eye to punish them. And his eye was me, but not as Bastet, as Sekhmet. Sekhmet the powerful, Sekhmet the terrifying, she who slays. I descended upon the land as a lioness of flame. And I did not stop. My rage was righteous, but it was also endless. I could not be satisfied. I could not cease. Even Ra himself grew frightened. She will destroy everything, he said. She will leave nothing alive. And so they devised a plan. They brewed 7,000 jugs of beer and mixed it with red ochre to look like blood. They poured it across the fields in my path. I came upon it and thought it was the blood of my enemies. I drank deeply, and the beer, it soothed my rage. It cooled my flame. It transformed me. When I awoke from my drunken sleep, I was no longer the lioness of destruction. I was the cat of joy, no longer Sekhmet the destroyer, but Bastet the celebrant. And this is why my festivals involve so much wine, so much beer, so much celebration. It is a ritual remembering, a reenactment of my own transformation from rage to joy, from destruction to protection, from war to peace. But here is what most do not understand. I did not lose my power when I transformed. I did not become weak. The capacity for fierceness still lives within me, must live within me, because true protection requires the ability to destroy what threatens. A mother cat is gentle with her kittens, but threaten those kittens, and she becomes a demon. Claws and teeth and fury. Her love makes her fierce. Her gentleness does not negate her strength. It is strengthened by it. This is the duality you must understand. Gentleness without strength is weakness. Strength without gentleness is tyranny. but gentleness that knows its own strength. That is divine power. In your own life, you have known this duality. You have been asked to be only one thing. Either soft or strong, either gentle or fierce, either nurturing or powerful. But I tell you, this is a false choice. You are not either or. You are both and. You contain multitudes. You contain contradictions. And that is not confusion. That is wholeness. So when you call upon me, know that you call upon both aspects. Bastet, who comforts you in your sorrow, and Sekhmet, who fights for you in your battles. The gentle purr that soothes your nervous system, and the fierce roar that scares away what would harm you. I am the mother who kisses scraped knees, and the warrior who destroys what threatens her children. I am the dancer celebrating life, and the defender who ensures that life continues. I am whole, and so are you. The priestess nods slowly, her eyes reflecting the alabaster glow. Do you see? She whispers. Do you understand? The goddess is not asking you to choose. She is showing you that you need not choose. You can be all things. You can contain all aspects. Soft and strong, gentle and fierce, at rest and ready. This is the first mystery revealed, the mystery of wholeness. Rest in that truth now. Let it settle into your bones. You are not half of anything. You are complete. You are whole. You contain both the purr and the roar, and that makes you divine. Chapter 3. Daughter of Ra, the Solar Journey. The priestess rises and walks to one of the alabaster walls. She touches it gently, and somehow, impossibly, the stone becomes transparent. Beyond it, you see the sky. But not the sky as it appears from Earth. You see the duat, the sacred realm where the sun travels each day and each night. This is the second mystery, the priestess says. The mystery of the eternal cycle. The journey that never ends. The battle that is fought and won every day, forever. Your consciousness expands. You are no longer sitting in the alabaster chamber. Or rather, you are still there, but you are also somewhere else. Everywhere else. You are standing on a golden boat. The solar bark, the boat of Ra, the sun god himself. And there, at the prow of the boat, stands a figure of such radiant power that you can barely look at him directly. A man with the head of a falcon, crowned with the solar disk. Ra Khepri in the morning, Ra at noon, Atum in the evening. The same God in three aspects, marking the sun's journey across the sky. And beside him, a cat, not a house cat, not a small, delicate creature, but a cat nonetheless. A cat of burnished copper and gold, with eyes like the sun itself. Me, Bastet, in my role as the defender of Ra. Every day, I make this journey. Every single day, for all eternity. From dawn to dusk, the boat sails across the sky. What you see from Earth as the sun moving overhead is actually us, sailing the celestial river. It seems peaceful from below. The sun rises, crosses the sky, sets. Simple, beautiful, predictable. But what you don't see, what is hidden from mortal eyes, is the battle. For there is one who hates the light, one who despises order, one who seeks to devour Ra and plunge the world into eternal darkness. His name is Apep, Apophis, the great serpent of chaos. Every night, when the boat descends below the western horizon and enters the Duat, the underworld, the realm of darkness, Apep attacks. He rises from the depths, a serpent so vast that his coils could encircle the world, his mouth wide enough to swallow the sun itself. His eyes burning with the hatred of chaos for order, of darkness for light, of entropy for existence. And he strikes. This is the moment when I transform. This is when the house cat becomes the lioness. When Bastet becomes Sekhmet. I leap to the front of the bark. My size increases. My muscles ripple with divine power. My eyes blaze with protective fury. And I have a weapon, a knife, sharp as starlight, forged from the first metals of creation. Apep lunges for Ra. His jaws open wide, and I meet him. The battle is fierce. The serpent writhes and coils, trying to crush the boat, trying to swallow the sun. But I am faster. I am fiercer. My claws rake his scales. My teeth find his flesh. And my knife finds his throat. I sever his head. Every single night, I kill him. Every single night, he dies. And every single night, he regenerates. Because chaos cannot truly be destroyed. It can only be defeated. Again, and again, and again. This is the nature of existence. The battle is never finally won. The victory is never permanent. Every day brings a new challenge. Every night requires a new defense. And yet, the sun rises. Every morning, without fail, the sun rises. Because I am there. Because I fight. Because I never surrender. Because I never grow weary of protecting what I love. When we emerge from the duat in the east, when the boat breaks through the horizon and light floods the world once more, I transform back. The battle fury leaves me. I become small again. Gentle again. The house cat once more, sitting peacefully beside Ra as he illuminates the day. But I am not unchanged. Each battle makes me wiser. Each victory makes me stronger. Each night in the darkness makes me appreciate the light more deeply. And this is your journey too. You face your own Apep, your own chaos serpent. Perhaps it is fear, perhaps it is despair, perhaps it is illness, or loss, or uncertainty. Perhaps it is the voice in your head that tells you that you are not enough, that you will never be safe, that the darkness will win. And every day, you fight it. Sometimes consciously, sometimes without even realizing. You get out of bed. You continue on. You choose life over entropy. You choose light over shadow. This is your solar bark journey, and I am with you on it. When your darkness comes, and it will come as surely as night follows day, I am there, fighting beside you, defending the light within you, ensuring that your sun rises again. The vision fades. You find yourself back in the chamber, sitting on your cushion. But you are changed. You understand now. The priestess smiles. You have seen the eternal battle, she says. And you have understood that victory does not mean the battle ends. Victory means you rise to fight again. And again. And again. This is not a curse. This is the sacred cycle. This is life itself. The eternal return. The never-ending story. She touches your forehead gently. You are stronger than your chaos serpent. Not because you will defeat it once and for all, but because you will defeat it today. And tomorrow, you will defeat it again. And the day after that. And the day after that. This is the second mystery. the mystery of eternal vigilance and eternal victory. Rest now in that knowledge. Let it give you strength. Your battle is sacred. Your persistence is divine. You are a defender of the light, and I will always fight beside you. The priestess stands. Come, she says. There is more to learn. And you rise to follow her deeper still into the mysteries. Chapter 4: The Alabaster Mysteries. The priestess leads you to another section of the alabaster chamber. Here, the walls are not smooth but carved with intricate reliefs showing artisans at work, quarrying stone, polishing vessels, creating sacred objects. This is where I teach you about beauty, she says, about the sacred nature of craft, about why alabaster, of all stones, is most beloved by Bastet. She runs her hand along the glowing wall. Alabaster, she murmurs. Calcite alabaster, harvested from the quarries of Hatnub, from the cliffs along the Nile. Do you know why this stone is sacred? She doesn't wait for your answer. Instead, she shows you. The chamber shimmers, and you see a vision. A quarry. Workers under the blazing sun, carefully extracting blocks of honey-colored stone from the earth. Alabaster is unlike any other stone, the priestess's voice narrates. Limestone is strong but opaque. Granite is powerful but dark. Marble is beautiful but cold. But alabaster is translucent. When you carve it thin enough, when you polish it smooth enough, light passes through it. Not blocked, not reflected, but transmitted. Transformed. The light that enters is harsh sunlight. The light that emerges is soft, warm, golden, like honey, like amber, like love made visible. The scene shifts. Now you see a workshop within the temple complex. Master craftspeople work by lamplight, their tools catching the glow. They are carving vessels from alabaster. Not quickly, not carelessly. Each vessel takes weeks, sometimes months. Watch, the priestess whispers. A craftsman holds a rough block of stone. He begins to carve. First roughly, removing the excess. Then more carefully, defining the shape. A jar with a wide mouth. A graceful curve from base to rim. Then comes the polishing. First with coarse sand. Then finer sand. then pumice, then leather. Hours of work, days of patient effort. Slowly, the stone transforms. Its surface becomes smooth as water. When you hold it up to a flame, the light passes through. The walls of the vessel glow. You can almost see the lamp inside, like a heart beating within translucent skin. This, the priestess says, her voice filled with reverence, is why alabaster is sacred to Bastet. Because it teaches the fundamental lesson of transformation. Rough stone becomes refined beauty. Opacity becomes translucence. Something heavy and dull becomes light and luminous. But only through patient work. Only through careful attention. Only through love. You are back in the glowing chamber. The priestess picks up a small alabaster jar from a niche in the wall. It is exquisite, perfectly proportioned, smooth as silk, glowing from within. She hands it to you. Feel its weight, she instructs. It is heavier than you expected. Dense, solid, and yet, when you hold it up to the lamplight, you can see through its walls. See the golden oil within. See the light dancing inside like a captive star. Alabaster vessels held the most precious substances, the priestess explains. Perfumes, oils, unguents, medicines. Not just any containers would do. The vessel itself had to be worthy of what it held. The same principle applies to you. You are an alabaster vessel. When you were born, you were rough stone. Potential, but unrefined. Everything you have experienced since then, every joy, every sorrow, every challenge, every triumph. These are the tools that have carved you, shaped you, polished you. The harsh experiences. They were the rough sand, removing what was excess, revealing your true form. The gentle experiences. They were the fine polish, smoothing your surface, bringing out your natural luster. And now, if you allow it, you can become translucent. Not transparent, which would mean having no substance, but translucent, solid enough to hold precious things, yet refined enough to let light pass through. People will see the light in you. They will feel its warmth. And they will know that you are holy, not because you are perfect, but because you have been perfected through the process. This is the third mystery, the mystery of the sacred vessel. The priestess opens the alabaster jar. Inside is oil. You can smell it now, rich, complex, ancient. This oil was made according to the old formulas, she says. The recipes known only to the temple priests. Let me teach you. Let me show you how we created the sacred oils. How we infused them not just with fragrance, but with intention, with prayer, with power. Another vision unfolds. You see a small, secret room deep in the temple. Here, priestesses work in concentrated silence. Before them, bowls of base oils, sesame, moringa, almond. Dishes of precious substances, frankincense resin, myrrh tears, cinnamon bark, dried lotus petals, rose petals, jasmine blossoms. The base oils were chosen for their stability, the priestess explains. They would not go rancid quickly. They could be infused with fragrance and would hold it for years, decades, even. We have found jars of oil in tombs, sealed for 3,000 years, that still carry their scent. Watch the priestess work. She takes frankincense resin, golden and luminous. She grinds it with a mortar and pestle, slowly, carefully. The resin becomes powder. She adds a drop of the base oil, grinds more. The frankincense dissolves into the oil, releasing its sacred scent. As she works, she chants, softly, continuously, ancient words, names of power, prayers of protection and blessing. The oil absorbs not just the scent, she says, but the intention. Every prayer spoken over it, every careful motion, every moment of focused attention. All of this goes into the oil, makes it more than just a pleasant fragrance, makes it a carrier of holiness. She shows you the process for each ingredient. Myrrh, ground and steeped, added to oil with prayers for grounding and purification. Lotus, the dried petals infused in warm oil with prayers for rebirth and renewal. Cinnamon, the bark powdered and mixed with prayers for prosperity and sweetness. Rose, the petals macerated in oil with prayers for love and beauty. Jasmine, the night-blooming flowers added at moonrise with prayers for dreams and intuition. Each oil takes days to prepare. Some take weeks. The flowers must be added fresh each day, strained out, new flowers added, over and over until the oil is saturated with their essence. Then comes the filtering. The oil is strained through the finest linen, so fine it's almost translucent itself. Again and again until no particle remains, only pure oil, clear and perfect. Finally, it is poured into the alabaster vessels, sealed with wax, labeled, stored in the cool chambers beneath the temple, ready for sacred use. This is how we made the oils you were anointed with in your first journey, the priestess says. Not quickly, not carelessly, but with infinite patience and love. Each drop of oil carrying within it weeks of devotional work, prayers, intentions, blessings. She anoints you now, here in the Chamber of Mysteries, a drop of the ancient oil on your forehead. Its scent is overwhelming, complex beyond description, layer upon layer of fragrance, and beneath the scent, you feel something else. The power, the holiness, the concentrated love of generations of priestesses. You are anointed with history, she whispers. With tradition, with the accumulated prayer of thousands. This oil connects you to every initiate who came before, every priest who created beauty, every worshipper who sought the divine. You are not alone in your seeking. You are part of a lineage, a golden thread stretching back through time and forward into the future. This is the teaching of the alabaster. Patient transformation, careful attention, beauty created through dedication, light made visible through refinement. She places the jar in your hands. Keep this teaching in your heart, she says. Remember that you too are being refined, polished, made translucent, so that the light of the divine can shine through you. Be patient with the process. Trust the tools that shape you, and know that you are becoming exactly what you need to be. A sacred vessel, worthy to hold precious things, beautiful enough to be an offering in yourself. You breathe in the scent of the ancient oil. You feel the smoothness of the alabaster. You understand. The third mystery settles into you. The mystery of patient transformation, and you rest in it, held in the glowing chamber, surrounded by beauty that took centuries to create. You are that beauty. You are that light. Chapter 5: The Great Festival. The priestess's expression changes. Her solemnity softens into a smile. Enough of solemn mysteries, she says with sudden lightness. Now I will show you joy. The alabaster chamber dissolves around you, or rather, it expands. The walls become translucent, transparent, and finally, they vanish altogether, and you find yourself in the greatest celebration ancient Egypt ever knew. The great festival of Bastet, the annual pilgrimage to Bubastis. 700,000 people, ancient historians said. 700,000 souls converging on this sacred city for days of uninhibited celebration. Come, the priestess says, taking your hand. Experience it, not as a historian reading dry texts, but as a participant, as one who lived it, as the priestesses and pilgrims did for thousands of years. You emerge into the streets of Bubastis during the festival. The sensory overload is immediate. Music everywhere. Drums pounding rhythms that make your heart sink to their beat. Sistrums shimmering like 1,000 wind chimes. Flutes playing melodies that spiral upward into the sky. Lyres and harps plucked by skilled fingers. And voices, singing, laughing, calling out in joy. Color, flooding your vision. White linen robes, but adorned with flowers. Lotus blossoms tucked behind ears, woven into hair, hung in garlands around necks. The blue of the Nile. The gold of jewelry catching sunlight. The rich brown of skin gleaming with perfumed oil. Banners of red and orange streaming from temple pylons. And the boats, oh, the boats. The Nile is filled with them. Hundreds of boats, thousands perhaps, sailing upstream toward Bubastis. Each one crowded with pilgrims. Each one a floating party. The journey was part of the celebration, the priestess explains, gesturing toward the river. Families would hire boats. Villages would come together to charter larger vessels. They would sail for days up the Nile, and the entire journey was festival. They brought wine, vast quantities of wine, beer, food, musical instruments, and they celebrated the entire way, singing, dancing on the decks, making offerings to the gods of the river, calling out to people in other boats, competing to see who could make the most joyful noise. She leads you to the riverbank where a boat is moored. You step aboard. The deck rocks gently beneath your feet. Around you, pilgrims are celebrating. A woman plays a harp, her fingers dancing across the strings. A man shakes a sistrum in perfect rhythm. Children run laughing between the adults. Someone pours wine into clay cups and passes them around. The wine is sweet, honey-flavored, and strong. Someone hands you a cup. You drink. The wine is warm on your tongue, sweet and spiced. It loosens something in you. Some tightness you didn't know you were carrying. A woman pulls you into the dance. There's no formal steps, just movement. Hips swaying, arms raised. feet stomping the deck. The boat rocks with the rhythm. Music and laughter and splashing water and the sun burning bright overhead. This is worship, the priestess calls out over the music. This joy, this celebration, this is how we honor Bastet. The boat arrives at Bubastis. The docks are chaos, beautiful, joyful chaos. Hundreds of boats trying to moor. Thousands of people disembarking. Everyone laughing, stumbling, embracing. Wine drunk and sun drunk and joy drunk. You step onto the dock and into the river of humanity flowing toward the temple. The streets are festival. Every corner has musicians. Every plaza has dancers. Vendors sell lotus garlands, honeyed wine, roasted fish, sweet cakes. The scent of incense pours from every doorway. Every household has become a shrine. Every family welcomes pilgrims. For these few days, the priestess says, there were no strangers in Bubastis. Everyone was family. Everyone was welcome. The city opened itself completely. Doors were unlocked. Tables were shared. Wine was poured for anyone who asked. It was utopia. Brief, drunken, joyful utopia. You reach the temple complex. The crowd is so dense you can barely move. But no one minds. Being pressed close to strangers is part of the experience. Human warmth. Human connection. The dissolution of boundaries. And then, silence falls. Not complete silence, but a hush. A collective holding of breath. The sacred bark is emerging from the inner temple. The bark of Bastet, a ceremonial boat carried on the shoulders of priests, not floating on water but elevated above the crowd. And on the boat, in a gilded shrine, the sacred statue of the goddess. Not the great public statues. This is the secret one. The one that lives in the inner sanctum. The one that only priests normally see. Once a year, she emerges. Once a year, she is carried through the streets. Once a year, everyone gets to see her. The crowd erupts, not in chaos, but in coordinated ecstasy. Thousands of sistrums shake at once. The sound is like the sky itself ringing. People are crying, laughing, falling to their knees, reaching out toward the bark. You feel it too. A wave of emotion so powerful it almost knocks you down. Joy, gratitude, love, connection to something greater than yourself. The priestess beside you is weeping, but she's smiling. She is with us, she whispers. The goddess is present. Can you feel her? And you can. In the collective heartbeat of the crowd. in the shimmering sound of the sistrums, in the joy that has temporarily obliterated all sorrow, all fear, all separation. For this moment, everyone is one, connected, divine. The bark processes through the streets, slowly, giving everyone a chance to see, to feel, to be blessed by the goddess's presence. And in its wake, the festival intensifies. What was joyful becomes ecstatic, the music faster, the dancing wilder, the wine flowing like the Nile itself. This is the purification, the priestess explains. Do you remember the myth of my transformation? How I was calmed from rage by wine. This is that ritual repeated. Every year, the festival reenacts it. Everyone drinks. Everyone celebrates. And in doing so, everyone transforms their own rage into joy. All the anger they carry, all the fear, all the hardship of the year, it is drowned in wine. It is danced away. It is sung into the sky. It is purified by joy. This is why celebration is sacred, she says. Not because it is an escape from reality, but because it is a transformation of reality. When you allow yourself to feel joy, real joy, not forced or fake, but genuine celebration, you literally change. Your chemistry changes. Your perspective changes. What seemed overwhelming becomes manageable. What seemed impossible becomes possible. Joy is not frivolous. Joy is medicine. Joy is transformation. Joy is divine intervention. The sun begins to set. The festival doesn't end, but it changes. The wild energy becomes gentler. People find places to rest. They sit in circles, still talking, still laughing, but softer now. Families share food. Strangers who met today share wine and stories. Musicians play slower melodies. Some people sleep where they sit, exhausted and happy. The priestess leads you to a quiet corner of the temple courtyard. You sit together, watching the festival wind down into peaceful night. Remember this, she says softly. In your daily life, when things are hard, when you are weary, remember that you are allowed to celebrate. You are encouraged to celebrate. The goddess herself commands it. Take time for joy, not because you've earned it through suffering, but because joy itself is holy, because delight is worship, because laughter is prayer. This is the fourth mystery, the mystery of sacred celebration. You breathe in the cool night air, scented with lotus and wine and incense. You feel the festival settling into your bones, becoming part of you. a memory you can call upon whenever you need it. The goddess celebrates, and so can you. Chapter 6. Priestess Secrets. The priestess rises. "Come," she whispers. "The festival continues outside, but we have more to see. The deepest mysteries are yet to be revealed." You follow her back into the temple, down corridors even more hidden than before, through doorways marked with symbols you don't recognize, into chambers where no pilgrim has ever been. This room is small, barely larger than a closet, but every surface is covered in hieroglyphs, not the formal, public inscriptions. These are notes, records, the working documents of generations of priests and priestesses. "This is the recipe room," the priestess says with a smile, "where we kept our secrets, not hidden from people out of malice, but preserved carefully because knowledge is power, and power must be used wisely." She pulls out a papyrus scroll from a niche in the wall, unrolls it carefully. The writing is dense, detailed, precise. "Here," she says, pointing, "the exact formula for the sacred anointing oil used in the morning rituals. Base, 3 parts moringa oil, 1 part castor oil. This combination will not go rancid even in Egypt's heat. Frankincense, ground fresh each morning, 60 parts resin to 40 parts oil, steeped under the rising sun for 3 hours. Myrrh, tears of myrrh, not the powder, dissolved slowly in warmed oil, stirred continuously while reciting the hymn of purification. Lotus, fresh petals only, harvested at dawn before they fully open, added to the oil and left to macerate for 3 days, strained, fresh petals added again, repeated 7 times. Cinnamon, the inner bark only, from trees at least 20 years old, powdered fine as dust, added to taste but never more than 5 parts to 100 parts oil, else it will burn the skin. Rose, for this, we used the roses that grew in the temple gardens, the deep red ones that bloom in spring, petals picked at noon when they are warmest and their scent most concentrated. She unrolls another section. The incense for evening prayers, she murmurs. Frankincense resin, myrrh tears, pine resin from the northern forests, Kai-Fi. Ah, Kai-Fi was the most complex. 16 ingredients, each added at a specific time, in a specific order, with specific prayers. The creation of Kai-Fi was a sacred art, taking many weeks of patient preparation. It was crafted with care for the most hallowed moments, not merely as incense, but as a bridge to deep tranquility. When the embers touch the resins, It releases a smoke that carries the weight of your worries away. It doesn't just fill the air, it cleanses the spirit. It gently eases the mind open, allowing you to let go of the physical world and enter the vast, quiet realms of the heart. In this fragrance, the boundary between the earth and the heavens becomes soft. It invites a peace so profound that you no longer need to seek answers. You only need to breathe. You are being prepared for a sleep that is sacred, a rest that restores the very core of who you are. "Here," she says, her voice filled with a gentle warmth. "This is the essence of the dream oil. It was crafted for those seeking a deeper peace and the quiet wisdom of the soul. Jasmine flowers, steeped in oil under the silver light of the moon for a full lunar cycle. Each night, fresh petals are added. Each morning, the old ones are returned to the earth. 30 days of patience, until the oil is rich with the spirit of the flower. Then, we add a single, precious drop of blue lotus. The lotus that blooms in the hidden curves of the Nile, with petals the color of the midnight sky. It is a flower of transition, gentle enough to soothe the restless mind, powerful enough to soften the boundaries of the day. It opens the golden door between the waking world and the sanctuary of sleep. When you wear this oil, your dreams become a garden, a place of comfort, a place where the soft whispers of the ancient ones can finally be heard." She looks at you with kindness. Are you ready to let go of the day and find your rest? Before you need to speak, she reveals a tiny, cool alabaster vial. She opens it slowly. The scent that emerges is breathtaking. Jasmine, yes, but something deeper, like the smell of rain on warm stone. It makes your thoughts feel as light as air. It makes the world around you feel soft, as if the room itself is bowing to your need for rest. She dabs a tiny amount on your temples, on the space between your brows, behind your ears, and over your heart. Immediately, the weight of the day simply dissolves. The room loses its heavy edges, fading into a warm, protective glow. You feel yourself drifting, safe and held, as the world of shadows turns into a sea of stars. "Now you are in the quiet space," the priestess whispers, her voice melodic and comforting. "Between the sun and the moon, between the journey and the rest, between the earth and the infinite. You are safe here. You are home. Just listen. Just drift." You hear voices, not as a noise, but as a gentle hum, like the sound of a distant hive or a soft wind through the palms. These are the voices of peace. One voice rises, as clear and soft as a mother's lullaby. The moon, it says. Watch the moon. Bastet's power waxes and wanes with her. New moon. Time of new beginnings. Bastet in her aspect as the kitten. Innocent. Playful. Full of potential. This is when to start new projects. To plant seeds. To set intentions. Waxing moon. Time of growth. Bastet in her aspect as the young cat. Strong. Fast. Confident. This is when to build momentum. To take action. To pursue what you desire. Full moon. Time of fullness. Bastet in her aspect as the mother cat. Abundant. Nurturing. Powerful. This is when to celebrate. To harvest. To acknowledge what you have achieved. Waning moon. Time of release. Bastet in her aspect as the old cat. Wise. Patient. Knowing. This is when to let go. To rest. To prepare for the next cycle. Work with these rhythms. Do not fight against the natural cycles. When the moon is dark, do not force yourself to shine. When the moon is full, do not hold yourself back. The goddess herself moves with these tides, and so should you. Another voice whispers, "The temple cats. Watch them. They are not merely pets. They are teachers." When a cat sits in stillness, barely breathing, eyes half closed, learn meditation. When a cat stretches, every muscle engaged, every vertebra articulated, learn embodiment. When a cat plays, pouncing on shadows, chasing invisible prey, learn joy without purpose. When a cat grooms itself, methodical and thorough, learn self-care. When a cat sleeps, curled in complete trust, learn surrender. When a cat hunts, focused and patient, learn dedication. The cats know. They always know. Watch them. Learn from them. They are the goddess in miniature form. The voices multiply, overlapping, creating a symphony of ancient wisdom, offerings, milk for gentleness, honey for sweetness, fish for abundance, flowers for beauty, music for joy, protection ritual, four corners, call the guardians, north, south, east, west, seal the space, dream incubation, sleep with blue lotus under your pillow, ask your question 3 times before sleeping. The answer will come. Purification, water from the Nile, salt from the sea, smoke from the sacred herbs. Wash away what no longer serves. Divination, watch the cats. If a cat comes to you, blessing approaches. If a cat walks away, be patient. If a cat sleeps near you, you are protected. All the voices suddenly merge into a single, clear voice. It is not the priestess. It is not any single priestess. It is all of them. It is the voice of the tradition itself. You who hear these words in a time far from ours, know that we knew you would come. We left these teachings for you. The temples have fallen. The festivals have ended. The old language is forgotten, but the goddess remains. She is with you now, as she was with us. In every cat that crosses your path, in every moment of joy, in every protective instinct, in every celebration, in every purr and every roar. You do not need our temples to find her. You do not need our rituals, though you may create your own. You do not need our language, though the knowledge transcends words. You need only to remember. Remember that joy is holy. Remember that gentleness is strength. Remember that you are worthy of protection and love. Remember that rest is sacred. Remember that life itself is the greatest miracle. Remember, and in remembering, you become what you always were, a child of the goddess, a carrier of light, a living temple. The voices fade. The room stops rippling. The walls become solid again. You are fully back in the small chamber. The priestess is watching you with wise, kind eyes. You heard them, she says softly. Good. The dream oil works still, even after all these centuries. She rolls up the scrolls carefully, returns them to their niches. These are the secrets of the priesthood, she says. Practical knowledge, recipes, techniques, but more than that, they are evidence. Evidence that humans have always sought connection with the divine, that we have always tried to create beauty, that we have always attempted to heal, to protect, to celebrate, to love. The methods change, the forms evolve, but the impulse is eternal. This is the fifth mystery, the mystery of the unbroken thread. You nod slowly. You understand. You are part of that thread. Connected to everyone who came before. Connected to everyone who will come after. The knowledge flows through you. Like water through a channel. Like light through alabaster. Like love through an open heart. Chapter 7. Offerings and Devotion. The priestess leads you to yet another chamber. This one feels different, more personal, less grand. It is a small altar room, intimate and warm. This is where the daily devotions happen, she explains. Not the grand public ceremonies, but the quiet, personal practice. The kind of worship that sustains a relationship with the divine. On the altar, she begins to arrange objects, each one placed with care and intention. A small clay dish filled with milk. Milk, she says, represents nurturing, gentleness, mother's care. When you offer milk, you honor Bastet's nurturing aspect. You acknowledge your own need for gentleness. You ask to be cared for, and you promise to care for others. A small bowl of honey. Honey represents sweetness, joy, the good things in life. When you offer honey, you give thanks for pleasure. You honor the goddess of celebration. You remind yourself that life is meant to be enjoyed. A dried fish on a small plate. Fish represents abundance, the bounty of the Nile, practical sustenance. When you offer fish, you acknowledge the material world. You thank the goddess for providing for your needs. You recognize that spirituality does not negate the importance of having enough to eat. Fresh flowers in a small vase. Flowers represent beauty, impermanence, the precious brevity of life. When you offer flowers, you give something that will fade. You acknowledge that nothing lasts forever. You find beauty in that truth rather than sorrow. A small lamp, burning with perfumed oil. Light represents consciousness, awareness, the divine spark within. When you offer light, you promise to stay awake, to not sleepwalk through your life, to honor the gift of awareness. And finally, a small sistrum. Music represents joy, celebration, the soul's natural expression. When you offer music, you give your own energy, your own vibration. You join your voice to the eternal song of creation. The altar is complete, simple, humble, perfect. This is how you can worship Bastet in your own home, the priestess says gently. You do not need a temple. You do not need priests. You do not need elaborate rituals. Find a small space, a shelf, a corner of a table, a windowsill. Make it sacred by intention. Place there the things that matter to you. Perhaps a small cat figurine. Perhaps a photo of a beloved cat. Perhaps simply a candle and a flower. Visit this space regularly. Daily if you can. Weekly at least. Bring fresh offerings. Speak your prayers. Or simply sit in silence. The goddess does not need your offerings. She is not hungry. She is not lacking. The offerings are for you. They remind you to be grateful. They force you to stop and acknowledge the sacred in daily life. They create a rhythm of devotion that structures your days. And in that rhythm, you find peace. She sits before the altar. You sit beside her. Together, you simply are breathing, present, connected. The priestess begins to speak, but her voice is different now. Less teaching, more channeling. It is as if the goddess herself is speaking through her. My beloved child, you have traveled far tonight, through mysteries and memories, through time and space, and now you arrive here, at this simple altar, this quiet moment, and I tell you this is enough. You do not need to understand all mysteries. You do not need to know all secrets. You do not need to be perfect in your practice. You need only to show up. Show up for yourself. Show up for your life. Show up for your joy. Show up for your sorrow. Show up again and again in all your imperfect humanity. And I will meet you there. I will meet you in the morning when you wake and stretch like a cat greeting the sun. I will meet you in the play you allow yourself, the moments of silliness and laughter. I will meet you in the fierceness you summon when something you love is threatened. I will meet you in the purr of contentment when you finally rest. I will meet you in every cat that crosses your path and looks at you with knowing eyes. I will meet you in the music that makes you want to dance. I will meet you in the scent of flowers and the taste of honey. I will meet you in the moment you choose joy even when sorrow seems more appropriate. I will meet you in the moment you roar no when someone tries to harm what you protect. I am not far away. I am not in some distant heaven requiring elaborate rituals to reach. I am here. I am now. I am in the daily, ordinary, sacred moments of your life. So do not wait. Do not think you must become more spiritual, more pure, more worthy before you can connect with me. You are worthy now. You have always been worthy. You will always be worthy. Simply open to me, and I am there. This is my promise. This is my vow. This is my eternal offering to you. I love you. I protect you. I celebrate you. I hold you in my eternal regard. You are my child, and I am your goddess, forever. The voice fades. The priestess returns to herself. She smiles at you, tears on her cheeks. You heard her, she whispers. The goddess spoke directly to you. You nod, unable to speak, your own tears flowing, not from sadness, from recognition, From being truly seen, truly known, truly loved. This is the sixth mystery, the mystery of divine love. Unconditional, eternal, available, always. Chapter 8. Eternal Protection. You find yourself back in the alabaster chamber. The journey is complete. The circle is closed. The statue of Bastet glows softly in the lamplight. Those emerald eyes watching, always watching. The priestess stands. You stand as well. She embraces you, not as teacher to student, but as sister to sister. Equal, connected. You came seeking mysteries, she says softly, and you found them. But the greatest mystery of all is this: there is no separation. The goddess and you, the sacred and the mundane, the divine and the human, all one, all connected, all holy. She releases you gently, steps back. Now you must return, she says, back to your time, back to your life. But you do not return empty-handed. You carry with you now the knowledge of your dual nature, gentle and fierce, soft and strong. The understanding of the eternal battle, fought daily, won daily, never finally ended but never truly lost. The appreciation of patient transformation. How rough stone becomes luminous beauty through love and time. The permission for sacred celebration. Joy as worship, delight as prayer. The wisdom of generations. The unbroken thread connecting past to present to future. The practice of simple devotion, showing up again and again in all your imperfection. And most of all, the absolute certainty of divine love. You are loved. You are protected. You are never alone. The alabaster chamber begins to fade, growing less solid, more dreamlike. The priestess form becomes translucent. She is dissolving back into light. But before she fully fades, she speaks one last time. Sleep now, beloved. Sleep deeply. Sleep knowing that Bastet watches over you. In your dreams tonight, you may wander the temple. You may meet the cats. You may hear the music. You may taste the wine. Or you may simply rest. Deep, dreamless, healing. Either way, you are held. You are safe. You are home. When you wake, whenever you wake, remember what you learned here. Remember that you are whole. Remember that you are strong. Remember that you are loved. Sleep well, seeker. Sleep in the embrace of the goddess. Everything fades. The chamber, the priestess, the temple. All that remains is a soft purring, deep, resonant, eternal, the purr of the goddess herself, holding you, rocking you, singing you to sleep. Your body is so heavy now, so relaxed, every muscle released. Your mind is quiet, thoughts dissolved, peace remains. You are sinking, down, down, into the deepest rest. Safe, protected, loved, forever and always. The goddess watches. The goddess guards. The goddess holds you in her eternal care. Sleep now. Sleep.